Reminiscent, chapel, Cypher, kingdom, business. What up, what up, what up, what up? It's your man, Goodson, Goodson, and this is the Chapel Cypher Collective. Man, we here with my man,
Vic, V to the I to the C. I'm Mr. Victory. Yo, we got another hot show for you.
Yes, sir.
And as you can already see, y'all might know him as Marqus Anthony, but this is Mr. Consistency. So yo, don't go nowhere. We'll be right back.
Yes, sir.
P, what up? It's your boy Marqus Anthony. Yeah, come on, let's go. Chop a demon, leave his head severed, call me Mark S. Devil really never had no bite, just a bark flex. Knock him down before he cross the line like a hard press. Trying to win this match without Christ, you'll be hard pressed. Giving God praise, do my dance like a meal chick. Thanking him I paid in advance when the bills hit. Baby, please button up your pants just a little bit. Gotta get married, only chance you gon' feel this. Hold a demon head underwater, call me Irvin B. Standing on what I believe like Kyrie Irvin B. Sipping mocktails, keep it dry like a Shirley T. I be on the prayer line going in fervently. Came up out that water transform, call me Heliard. Get baptized, rivers flow where your bellies are. God is my motivation, no it ain't Kelly R. When Jesus touched down, I'ma hit that celly hard. Just remember hang in there like Dylan G. Stay holy, keep away from that villainy. Gotta get up on the winning team like Krillin B. Jesus paid the cost for us all, now we living free. He the greatest of all time, I got to go. He sacrificed his life to get a world hope. Can you get to heaven without Jesus Christ? Nope. The most high get you higher than the hardest dope. Holy Spirit way more potent than some ether. The Father is my writer, Holy Ghost is my feature. I've been washed in the blood, whiter than some new sneakers. Had to be transformed, become a whole new creature. I was in a real bad space like Mark Scout. Thank God he saved me from that place, it's a dark route. I was acting up, I'm just trying to play my part now. Time to take that first step of faith, ready, start now. Dodge, duck, dip, dive, dodge the devil, Ben Stiller. If God tell me not to move, I never been stiller. Working hard to crucify my flesh, I'm a sin killer. In the trenches trying to say the scammers and the fin dealers. The way God works sometimes it's mysterious. Ain't important but you joking, why so serious? Life ain't no comedy, don't be delirious. Raw truth coming at you every time you hearing this. Let my light shine brighter than a million lumens. Gotta keep it pure, can't be running two mins. How long I been rapping on this track? About 2 minutes. I project beats harder than Metro Boomin. Swerve that forbidden fruit, don't bite the apple. Think that you can wrestle God, I wouldn't wanna grapple. No cap, only real facts like Snapple. I got words all day, you can't beat me playing Tapple. God direct my wellness better than Miss Casey. Demons gotta pack up and run Eddie Lacy. Trying to walk away from God and stumble like Macy. I ain't never heard a rapper harder than DeAndre Gracie. Time to choose your wife, Mark, come on, what the helly? I'm finding her in real life, not swiping on the telly. Looking for a praying woman, rocking Pelly Pelly. We'll leave a demon's head severed, chopped like a deli. Come on, man. Blessed on purpose. Y'all already know what time it is, man.
What up, what up, what up, what up, what up? It's your man, Goodson, and this is the Chapel Cypher Collective. As they say in the D, what up, though? Man, look, another day, another dope episode. I hope y'all ready to go. Look, I told y'all we gonna set it off in 2026. So look, you got some people in the building. This my brother like no other. What's going on, Vic?
Yo, what up? This your boy Vic, man. Mr. Victory in the building. And we got a special guest today. He goes by the name of Marqus Anthony. But like I said in the intro, I call him Mr. Consistent because haven't seen anybody as consistent as he's been since he started. Y'all could correct me if I'm wrong. Y'all can go to my inbox. Sean the Convictor Williams.
A gospel rap, but
But you know what I'm saying? He could. Now I'm talking about as far as, you know, as Michigan.
Yeah.
Cause, you know, we get mad at folks in the mid and be like, I ain't rapping no more. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
But I've seen, you know, his consistency from being on the radio with him, you know, to, you know, even moving to do, you know, what he believed God called him to do, man. And then to come back and, you know, still pound the pavement, you know what I'm saying? That's hard work, man. And that's, you know, that's pretty much, you know, what it takes to get the gospel out, man.
Definitely.
What's good, fellas? Hey, I'm glad to be in the building. Y'all know what time it is. It's your boy Marqus Anthony, man. The light of Detroit in the building, man. We're just trying to be the light of God in our own city. You feel me?
That's
Yes,
what's
sir.
up.
Yes, sir. Hey, so look, so we last episode we had LaRue in the building. Shout out to LaRue.
Shouts out LaRue.
Yeah.
And we were, I don't know, we were kind of jumping around, but we were supposed to have been talking about the business part of the gospel music industry or music industry in general. And I think we have a fitting guest on here today. You know, look, he's head to toe in light of Detroit, where if that's not being industrious, I don't know what it is, you know, and we were talking about that earlier. He seems to be a consummate salesman, right? And I didn't say that in a bad way, because some people look at salesmen as sleazy people.
Car salesman, car salesman, yeah.
But you know what though, if you're gonna get it in, you gotta get it in. They say the saying said a closed mouth won't get fed. So we're gonna kick off today, man, and we're gonna talk about a couple of things, kind of more piggybacking on some of the stuff about the business and as well as worship, right? So we're gonna kick it about that.
Hey, I'm grateful to be in the building, man. I'm humbled by your kind words, Convictor, and you as well, Goodson. I mean, I wouldn't be who I am today in the Christian rap community without y'all mentorship. When I first started out, you know what I'm saying, y'all was the ones who helped sit me down and help coach me and teach me, and I watched y'all perform and watched y'all do ministry the whole time and be family men. And y'all still out here carrying, you know, clap it up for these men out here still going forward and doing this, you know, you know, look, just a couple years older than me. That's all, you know what I'm saying? I hope I'm still doing this when I'm y'all age. I'm out here pushing forward for the youth. And so, yeah, man, let's talk business, man. I love to talk business. You know, we just dropped a brand new coalition that Goodson and I are a part of. It's called the Detroit Christian Creative Coalition. And so the whole purpose of that is to have panels, educate people, and just have a Christian networking event. You know what I'm saying? The world got all kind of networking events. It ain't that many Christian networking events. So, like, you can go in Detroit every weekend and find some kind of networking event. So why not have more Christian networking events to where we can share game, to where we can fellowship, to where, you know, as artists, it's not a lot of people that want to hear about our passions too often. Our spouses, our friends, kids, whoever, they going to get tired of hearing about your music. So you need somebody else just to talk about it with.
Yeah.
Because artists only talk the 15 minutes before a show and the 30 minutes after. Other than that, a lot of artists these days, we not clicking up. We're not going out to eat after shows like we used to 10 years ago. Like when the show's over, people go home. And so it's just something that I wanted to. I'm passionate about bringing people together, about teaching the next generation, about educating people. It's a lot in this music business that a lot of people don't know of. And it ain't their fault because, you know, how can you hear if it ain't no preacher? And how can he preach if he ain't been sent? So we sent here to preach the good news.
See, that's a text. He done took a text.
So the coalition. So back in the day, I was part of UGA, the Urban Gospel Alliance. And they used to set up shows for us. They used to set up workshops. It used to be me, Traydon, Sunny Day. Matter of fact, this was before Gideon Crew was even a crew, you know what I'm saying? So it used to be Sunny there, you know what I'm saying? And so we did things like that. I don't know why we got away from that, but we did things like that, man. And I think, you know, I work for a nonprofit, and we got this program called Parent Network. And in Parent Network, the whole gist of Parent Network is reintroducing that it takes a village to raise a child, because we got away from that. And so with coalitions like that, man, we got to understand that this genre that we've been called to, or this gift that we've been given, is bigger than just you and I, you know what I'm saying? We got to stop being an island, you know, and we got to learn to come together. And so I think that this is a good venue, because you get to talk about business, and it's a lot of folk that don't know. They just got money going down the drain, you know what I'm saying? And so I think it's a good opportunity for a person to be able to, especially a person that feel like they're called, you know, because if you feel like you called, but you out here by yourself, you're going to drown. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because you're going to have these thoughts. Am I supposed to do this? Am I supposed to do this? Am I supposed to do this? And dummy, you'd have the answer. Well, I guess I shouldn't have said dummy.
Right.
But that's a dummy move, because if you was around other people, somebody got that same question and they might be brave enough to ask the question. You know what I'm saying? But by yourself, you're going to sink, man. So I think that's a good thing that y'all, came together to do.
So this is what's crazy about that, right? I talked to D. When D saw the flyer, D was Heavy D. Shout out Lit Podcast Studios. Again, make sure y'all come and check him out. D was like, that what he wanted to eventually spin this show into.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. And then when me and Marcus talked about it, I have something in my phone that's similar. And I have a lot of stuff.
He has something called the Midwest Christian Creative Coalition. And I had the Detroit Christian Artists Coalition. And we was like, hey, why don't we put this together? We both used the word coalition, which was funny because you don't hear that word everywhere, but it was a word that I felt on my mind because y'all probably heard of the coalition DJs.
Yeah.
And so I kind of got it from them. And it's like a coalition is different than a collective. A coalition is like an army. You know what I'm saying? So it's like we're building up an army of the Lord to go forward. And shout out to Sam, man. Sam Wood, he opened up the venue for us, man. It's gonna be going down at Emmanuel Bethel Church in Royal Oak. Check us out on Instagram at Detroit Christian Creative Collective.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Christian Creative Coalition. And so that's what it is.
Well, what's cool about it is, like you say, it's something that's definitely needed, right? Something that's needed where there's not a lot of managers and I know a lot of times y'all are talking about, who want to do something other than rap or sing or who can bring something to the table other than just the, being creative, because we all can't be the same thing. Or even if we're the same thing, we all have other talents, and things like that we could bring. And, one of the things I thought about, even when myself, sometimes I'm watching, you looking at videos, you doing whatever, and somebody do something, and you may not necessarily agree with the way they do it, but I always tell myself, but you got to give props to the ones that's doing.
Yeah.
And not the ones that's talking, because there's a lot of people talking, and like I said, I had that thing in my phone for years.
Me too. I had that in there for a couple years, and then
say, let's do it.
We put it together. Sam brought the venue, and the cool thing is that Sam, he tapped in with how do I put this? Nashville Americana, white people Christian music.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And the people that he got a whole different community, and then I've built a whole different community that's based around Christian rap, pop, R&B, gospel, and so the beauty of it is to bring both of those communities together, and then it's also opened up to photographers, videographers, dancers, writers, graphic designers, Christian Creative Coalition, not just rapper or artist coalition. So
everything y'all need is gonna be in the house, man. You know what I'm saying? And I got to piggyback off of what you said with this scripture. John is having a conversation with Jesus, and John says, I told them to stop because they wasn't with us. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And so many of us have that. And even today, God is dealing with me, in regards to that, because I look at rap from, the standpoint of, how we used to do it. You know what I'm saying? And I'm real critical. And sometimes I could be too critical, you know what I'm saying? And so God has been, dealing with me, not only from the aspect of music, but, in other areas of my life where I'm, critical, and I'm like, it got to be done this way. But then he started reminding me of, that's the same thing that they used to do to you. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And so I had to,
that hurt a little bit, right? Vic got his own toes stepped on for once.
And I don't mind.
By the Holy Spirit.
I don't mind expressing that. I mean, that's what, I'm the convictor. So, you know what I'm saying? I should be able to eat conviction. It hurt, but it's good. You know what I'm saying? And so I think that the pride stops us from, being convicted. You know what I'm saying? And so A prideful person would have been like, man, I had that idea. I ain't about to partner up, you know what I'm saying? And we got to stop being like that, you know what I'm saying? Because it ain't your venue don't mean that you can't go, you know what I'm saying? I take my hat off to Paul because he's at just about 98% of the venues that, you know, that everybody is putting on, man. And there is some talent, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, I use me and my son as an example. I don't let the fact that he's 11-year-old and, you know, I'm over a century stop me from, you know, ministering with him, you know what I'm saying? Because we can meet, you know, people in the middle, you know what I'm saying? So he could tell his friends, yo, tell your pops and tell your grandpa to come to the show. We rocking out, you know what I'm saying? So we getting both. So we got to stop being so closed-minded, man, and just, you know, open ourselves up to what God is doing. You know, it ain't always that's of the devil. No, you got the devil in you. You know what I'm saying?
But you know, it is a good thing that you would challenge and critique people, though. Like it is a certain way to where, you know, the way that things was done back in the day wasn't wrong either. You know what I'm saying? And if people ain't coming with the right excellency, if they calling themselves Christian rappers and they barely shouting out God and just being cool and rapping, like that's why you are the OG and what you're supposed to, and we appreciate that too. So, you know, go both ways, and people got to be humble enough to receive that correction from the OGs. And a lot of people ain't even got OGs in their life, and that's why they doing what they doing. But shout out to God, like that ain't the case in Detroit. We got OGs that care about the culture, that's pouring back into it constantly.
Just don't become the bitter old man talking about.
So I got a question, man, because, you know, everybody is big on the algorithm. And me, you know, I'm like, I understand that there's an algorithm, but I believe that God is bigger than, you know, any algorithm. So I was having this conversation with an individual, and this individual was like, man, it's good that you're working with your son, but he need to stay in one lane because until, you know, he get a following.
Yeah.
And I'm like, in my own opinion, you're shortchanging yourself, you know what I'm saying? Because that one style that you're trying to rock is only gonna reach a certain demographic of people when the God in you is so much bigger and you're so focused on the algorithm that you're gonna miss out on those Jabez moments, you know what I'm saying? And so because I feel like you stay in that one lane, the person that God has called to really get behind you can't get behind you because they don't see you moving in the vein of God. You know what I'm saying? So what's your take on algorithms and all that?
Man, I don't really care about no algorithm for real, Vic. Like I post my stuff, bro. Like I'm you know, I'm turning 35 next month, you know what I'm saying? And like I got to the point where like I do this because I was called to do this and because I love to do it. And I'm not trying to like pop or go like or blow up. Like if I do, the glory to God, you know what I'm saying? But like I don't make my money off of this, you know what I'm saying? I make some money off it and I reinvest it back in, but it ain't like, you know what I'm saying? So like I make some videos and I post. I stopped looking at, ever since I moved back from Atlanta to Detroit, I don't look at numbers at all. I don't care about numbers. I don't care about streams. Like I'll have 100+ people at my shows though, packed out. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And I'm more about like boots on the ground, being outside and doing events and connecting with people in real life. Not to knock anybody who, you know, if you reach 1 million people through the algorithm like that, then that's amazing. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to knock that. I'm just saying for me, like, I can't get caught up in that because it'll lead you into some it'll lead you to quit if you're worrying about, because the algorithm's going to switch every other couple months. Yeah. And it's always updating. And if you always trying to keep with what's like, I'm more concerned about building my catalog, building my artistry, and doing a good job at what I'm doing. And the people is going to, over time, find me more and more and more. The consistency. Yeah. Like, you know, it's been, since I moved back, I've been put out a song, pretty much at least one song every month for the past 3 or 4 years. At least if 1 month I skip, the next month I drop 5 songs. Right. You know what I'm saying? And so like, just by being consistent I don't have a lot of. I stopped paying for videos. I stopped paying to do like music because I'm gonna pay $300 is a cheap music video. Let alone the standard I want to do is gonna cost at least $1,500. Yeah. But then what am I gonna get back from that on YouTube? I'm gonna get a few hundred views, maybe 1,000. You know what I'm saying? Right. I can promote it on social media channels, and it's like if you do one for every video, like Vezo did and different people, like it adds up in the. But like. Man, I make my music, man. I put it out there, and it's gonna do what it's gonna do at this point. I let it kind of go where it's gonna be, and pray to God that it find the right people.
Oh no, that's
what's up.
That's dope.
That's what's up. Yeah.
And I will run ads, and I will run some ads on Instagram and stuff. That way, it's always going in there, you know. So you can get views for a certain click, and like for the concert coming up, I ran some ads. It's the first time I did it in over a year, but that'll be something to where you can kind of. Add to your organic reach by running ads on social media. That's as much as I do. But as far as algorithm chasing, man, I'm too tired for that.
See, it's cool that you say that. Now, one thing I think years ago, and I think this maybe still ring true, and it may even kind of tie into what you're talking about. Even though we're not necessarily chasing the algorithm, right? I remember back in the day, which was true, right? Of us in a sense, people used to be like, well, who is your audience? Or who do you know, who are you? And you know, the answer was, oh, everybody. You know, that's kind of hard to do. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And even though, right, we definitely want to cater to everybody, we all had to come to the realization that we all have an audience.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You have an audience, and that is, you know, not necessarily you're catering to, but that is where you're going to get the most exposure and all
that's
that.
What works for you, too, because everything don't work for everybody.
Nah.
For me...
Go ahead.
For me, I was just going to say, I found my audience is Detroit and Michigan. Yeah. That's the style of beats I rap on, pretty much 99% Detroit beats over the past 5 years. Up until that point, I did a little bit of everything, some trap, some this, some of that. And I was experimenting, but like my sound is not the Atlanta sound. Like I can't sing, even if it's got auto-tune on there, I don't sound good. But like, so I found, well, ever since I moved back, I've only focused on Michigan. If I run ads, they only in Michigan. Yeah. I'm only trying to like build up my own home city because it's people getting off in Atlanta. Yeah. It's people building up the culture, you know, in the Bay. Shout out to Miles Minnick and everything they doing out there in California.
Yes, sir.
You know, and then shout out to DKG. He doing his thing in Detroit. And so I'm focused on, you know, and a lot of people, man. Shout out to everybody, Dre B's and everybody doing their thing. Yeah. And but it's to me like I feel my audience is Metro Detroit, Michigan, and that's who I focus on. I stopped trying to get national recognition ever since I came home. Like if I get it, cool. I still will send my emails out to my email list, but to me that's the audience that I've really focused and honed in on is just Michigan for me.
So what broke me out of, because you have some people that because they're so tied to the church, they will never go after the audience that God has called them to.
Okay. Yeah.
And what broke me out of that was I was called to eulogize a funeral. And I'm getting out the car and everybody know who I am. They, you know, and they smoking weed and cussing. And it's like, I come from an era when you're around the pastor, you automatically freeze up, you know what I'm saying? But it was like, and so I'm like, I got annoyed. Cause I'm like, man, this is what I do, but I've never from this angle, you know, seen this. And so in that moment, God was like, I never called you to rap inside the church. It's like, I called you to do what you do out in the streets. So that's when I came up with, this is for the streets, you know what I'm saying? And ever since then, I never chased after awards or anything, but I got them. They, you know, they came to me instead of, you know, me going to them. And it might have been, you know, the people that I had then doing the background. But there's a lot of people who never go after the audience that they should go after, because they really don't have an understanding that, you know, they should go after them.
So now let me ask you a question. So how do you, as an artist, right? And this is your, you saying it from Vic. How would you figure that out?
I mean, you gotta have you gotta if you're doing Christian rap, if you're doing gospel hip hop, you gotta figure out it comes with building your relationship with God. You know what I'm saying? Because I think we fall into the fallacy of the religious circles.
The big words. He talking about eulogizing and fallacy.
We fall into the falseness of religion because we really don't know God. You know what I'm saying? And so because of that, we never, it's like the one with the talents.
Yeah.
The one with the talents said, I knew you were this. And the response was, well, if you knew I was this, then why didn't you give me a return on what was given to you?
Yeah.
And that's so many of us, man, that, we got this talent, but we're not taking the talent where we should. And so we're not bringing the production that we should, because it's required of us. You know what I'm saying? And so and anybody that's listening, you need to understand that you were, and I'm not saying that you can't be used in other arenas, but what I am saying is there is a niche that you have been called to. And a lot of times, because we bury ourselves in the church, we never reach our full capacity, man. And I think,
I agree with that.
Right. I mean, I think, and then too, though, I really think that, like you say, in that discovery of you as a artist, right? I think, like you were talking about niches, right? You have to figure out what your niche is, because there are some people who, are in the quote unquote church and their ministry is to the church. You have some people that's in the church and their ministry is to the streets, and then kind of both. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Just like the apostles, you had some that was, talking to the Jews, and you had Paul was out there going for the Gentiles, and so I think if you limit yourself to only performing in the church, then you're cutting out a lot of platforms and outlets, and you're missing on the chance to grow musically. And because when you first start out, you want to, in my opinion, get out there as much as you can. Do every open mic you can find when it's your first year starting out. Now be safe about it, you know what I'm saying? Maybe not everyone, but bring some people with you. But at the same time, if you come in SB, you'll be surprised that I done went into open mics off of 7 Mile and Van Dyke and went in there and performed 10 years ago. You know what I'm saying? Nobody with me. I'm just in there, and people respect it when you come in there and you walk a certain way, you carry God with you, and you do that Christian rap music. People respect it, because if you still dope and got bars but not cussing, that's not easy to do. And they know that they coming up there with some bull stuff rhymes anyway. They ain't talking about nothing. They can't your flow better, and so you can teach somebody something. You can learn somebody about Jesus while you out there in these different venues. And so I think the value of, okay, what songs work in front of what crowds? That's how you find your audience, by performing in front of an audience. And okay, how do they respond to this type of track? How do they respond to this type of track? How does the church respond when I do this kind of track? And then, not that you should get all your feedback from people. Obviously, a lot of it's going to be through prayer and spend time with the Holy Spirit. But if you don't listen to people and don't take feedback,
they're going to tell you what's hot, what's not.
So, when I started rapping on Detroit beats, I had people tell me yo, Mark, I always said I liked your stuff, but that was because you was my friend. This stuff right here, I like this, bro. Keep rapping like this. You know what I'm saying? They was like, man, this is different. And so you got to heed that. And it's I found something that worked. It works for my vocal tones. The first thing I found was my voice. It took me rapping for 5-6 years before I found my rapping voice. I used to go into the booth and try to become a rapper. Yeah. I'm in there rapping like I'm Curtis Blow or Snoop Dogg or something, or Tupac. I'm putting on these emphasis and stuff like that. And then somebody it finally hit me that my best rapping voice is actually just my regular talking voice. Man, and people would think I was rapping when I'm talking. And so
So when I was with the council it wasn't an issue for me to go into
in the 90s. In the 90s, right?
Yeah. It wasn't an issue to go into the club after hours. That wasn't an issue. But when I became a solo artist, especially with my first CD, it was like, okay, I'ma just stick to the church.
Yeah.
And then I opened
that's
up
what most
for,
of the trouble was.
So when
That was the white cover. That was the white cover.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when God spoke to me, he didn't speak to me through somebody from the church.
Yeah.
He spoke to me. So shout out to Pug, Greg Robbins. Yeah. He was my first manager. So he got me this show where I opened up for Proof at Cobo Hall. So I'm nervous because I'm in here, big stage, big names, and you know, I'm the first up. So I'm like,
test out the sound on Vic.
I'm like, oh man. So I did I don't think so.
Mm-hmm.
And so when it first started off, you know, they was in shock. But then as I got towards the end of the second verse, they started vibing with me. And then the third verse, it was, you know, hands in the air.
Okay, yeah.
So then I come off stage and Proof like, tell my man to come here. So, you know, I go, I'm like, yo, what's good? And so we sitting and we kicking it. He was like, listen, bruh. He was like, man, don't stop doing what you're doing because we need this.
Yeah.
And that was God.
Yeah.
But I didn't recognize it. So I had to wait a whole 4 years to preach this eulogy at a funeral and see the reaction that I got. And the reason that I got the reaction that I got is because they don't respect us because we act like we too good to talk to them or minister to them.
Right.
And the moment that I did, this is for the streets, I became the #1 person in the streets, bro. They was like, call Vic over here, you know what I'm saying?
But that's the calling, though. You know, you have to realize what that calling is, because there's some people that would even attempt to do what you do, you know, and it wouldn't go over the same way, or attempt to do what Marcus do, and it wouldn't go over the same way, you know, because it has to be part of your DNA. You know, we were from the streets, so to do that, you know, is natural to go back right to the streets and do that. I'm gonna kind of jump. So listen, I know you, Marcus, you got a company called Blessed on Purpose.
Yes,
or
sir.
a ministry called Blessed on Purpose. Kind of give us some background on that. Like, how did that start? Like, I mean, was it always Blessed on Purpose? Like,
yeah. So shout out to Bishop Eric Lloyd. You know what I'm saying?
Mr.
That
Lloyd.
was one of my first pastors, my second pastor. And he said that in a sermon one time, and I wrote it down. He said, I'm trying to be blessed on purpose. And I said, oh, that was good. And I wrote it down. And that was my first brand. And it comes from the book of Psalms 101. Blessed is the man that walk upright, you know what I'm saying? And that you know, don't sit around with the scornful.
Yes, sir.
And then he studied the word of God day and night. And he meditated on it. And then he grow like deep roots, you know what I'm saying? And whatever he does, put his hands to shall prosper. I know I just butchered that scripture, but y'all, that's all. You know what I'm saying? And then it was also from the book of Deuteronomy too, when it says, I'm blessed in the city, blessed in the field. Because it's actually directions on there. It's a if. If you listen to the Lord, blessed will you be. It's a if then. So that's why I say I'm trying to be blessed on purpose, because it's not an accident. You can be blessed on purpose by listening and obeying the laws of God. You will be blessed by meditating on his word day and night. Everything you put your hands to will prosper. So that's what blessed on purpose is, man. BOP, you feel me? And so that's been my company since, I think I founded that company in like 2015, 2016. And still pushing it to this day.
Blessed on purpose. Y'all hear that? Blessed on purpose.
It ain't an accident.
On purpose. It ain't an accident.
It's another scripture where Jesus says, where God says, had you listened to me, then your children would be doing this.
Yeah.
You would have fat pockets.
Yeah.
you know, you would have full coverage, you know, and I'm just paraphrasing, but again, you just blessed on purpose, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, that's dope, man.
That's super dope, man.
Yeah,
so,
appreciate it.
So earlier I was saying, you know, you the consummate salesman, right?
That's a big word, man.
Consummate. Right, consummate. C-O-N-summate. Consummate. There we go. Look, so the ultimate. Okay, I'll switch. We'll say the ultimate. I can't spell that either, but it sounds good. Is that from like the test, you know, the trial of being at a place and like, say for instance, you somewhere with your merch and Lecrae was there. I know we was back in the day where they would let us set up our merch tables. And it's Lecrae, and we out there with 1,000 CDs, and you leave.
His line 50 people long. Ain't nobody at your table at all. 2 people, yeah.
99 because your granny bought one.
Yeah.
So, I mean, did that spring from any of that?
Because my granny and Goodson bought one. That's the 2 I saw. Yeah, you know, a little bit of the gift of gab, you know what I'm saying, and just being playful with it, and just like also when you know you got good product and that it's worthwhile investing in, and that you know it's more blessed to give than receive.
Yes, sir.
And so I'm just trying to get you a blessing. That's all. Like you sow into good ground, you know what I'm saying. You're gonna be more blessed to buy something from me than you is gonna be buying, you know, some Louis or whatever. You can get 10 hats from me for the price of one of those, and then God will bless you tenfold. And come on now. But you know, it's just like you know, the hustler and me, you know what I'm saying, coming up around the city, you know what I'm saying, and it's just like, yeah, closed mouth don't get fed, man, and it's just like, you know, if you keep, it ain't nothing crazy, man. I just like to have fun with people, joke around, talk to people, and that's really all it is.
And that's a good thing. I mean, because here's the thing, and I've been thinking about this. I mean, you know, all the time, on occasion, right? So say these days people have a career, say you have a career, you know, these days to get paid, you know, $25, $30 an hour. A lot of us are like, you know,
Give me a job.
That's a good job, right?
Where you work at?
That's the consequences, though. Man.
So I'm saying, but in the grand scheme of things, right? When you think about giving an hour of your life, you know, and you're saying even if it's 25, it's 30, if it's 40, right? An hour of your life. And then certain people are, like you said, hustlers or they're entrepreneurs. That same hour, maybe you could yield something that same hour, get you $100.
You ain't, I mean,
You know.
places I done rap somewhere, so I mean, done made it 500, 600 easy in a couple hours. You know, some people done paid me to come and rap 2 songs for 8 minutes, and I made $500 in 8 minutes. Times that by the hour.
And that's what,
That's good ministry.
You know what I mean? And that's what I'm saying. So in the grand scheme of things, you know, I think sometimes, and it's not about recreating the wheel. I truly believe a lot of times if we'll use what's in our hands, you know, we wouldn't necessarily have to rely on, you know, somebody to say, okay, well, I'm going to pay you. Again, I'm not sneezing at that. I remember my man back in the day, I ain't going to say who it is, but he's a major artist now. And only reason he kept a job was because they had good, like, medical. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You know, so he was like, it wasn't about him making money. He was like, hey, this y'all got benefits. You know what I'm saying? And so I think that is one of those things. But hats off to you for that, you know, because that is something, even with this coalition, that we could learn. It was a dude back in the day, just passed recently, the late great brother Stone, man, he was a beast.
He was the epitome of hustle.
You know what, hustler? Oh, my man, shout out Blessed Story, another cat.
Yeah.
Down there in Texas.
Yeah, in Texas now.
Man, listen, Blessed Story can sell
Bro,
ice the Eskimo.
I've been out with him in the parking lot of Walmart slinging burn CDs,
Man,
like,
listen.
and I made money with it. He taught me some.
Christine Benjamin, bro.
sir.
She ran up on me in Home Depot like, hey, this my CD. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
My CD.
Donate something to it.
Shout out Christina Benjamin.
That's the first.
And my husband, my
Courtney.
and then Courtney.
Courtney Benjamin, that's my guy right there.
That was
Publishing.
the first female
Always give
that
it
I ever saw, other than Street Pharmaceuticals.
Yeah.
that was out here doing, hustling, man, and wasn't scared, bro.
Oh, yeah.
And then I saw her again. I think I was at Eastland.
Yeah.
And she was like, buy my CD. And I'm like,
Already got it. She's like, no, listen, but you know, people like Bless, though, like Marcus, I remember rolling with him. And you know, one of the things that if I didn't learn nothing, I learned it was about, number one, that belief, you know, and that approach. He didn't care. Look, you could be a 69-year-old Caucasian lady or a 15-year-old black dude. He was rolling up on everybody, you know, and there was that approach. You know, it was always, you know, what he was doing, which he's really doing. You know, he like, I'm out here helping the youth and, you know, I've seen people get him $20, $30. They probably gonna never, they probably threw that CD in the back of the seat, you know, and on GP. And that's the whole, you know, so that's dope.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to make this any type of full-time career, you got to have so many streams of income as a rapper these days. You can't just get paid off the music. You got to have different avenues. And so I just been developing that over the years, adding to it and growing. And, you know, I done tried to sell Blessed on Purpose shirts. That didn't work. You know what I'm saying? I tried to sell Walking by My Faith shirts. That didn't work. I never had the right design. You know what I'm saying? And then now I'm doing the Light of Detroit. And that's going well. And now I'm trying to branch off and keep pushing that. And it's like God has really got me focusing more on the brand this year than the music. Going ahead and pushing that. Because you never know. Your blessing could be, I may think my main blessing or whatever is in the music all these years, but that could just be a setup for something else. Exactly. And so you can't get too stuck in, this is how I'm going to get off is doing music. But like, you know, it could be speaking, preaching, writing a book, all kinds of different things that God could have. He used your music to set you up for success in a whole bunch of areas.
George Foreman made way more money off of Foreman grills than he made out of boxing.
Wow.
Yeah, that's good.
Hey, I got one.
Go ahead, Vic.
So you tell your testimony often about, you know, being an atheist, you know what I'm saying? But there's not a lot of people that realize your professional background before you started rapping, man.
Yeah.
And you don't hardly talk about that.
Yeah.
Talk about it.
Well, you know, I used to be a perinatal immunobiologist.
That was a real
Y'all don't even
talk
know
about
what that is.
What'd you say,
perinatal?
Natal, so that's babies, right?
There you go.
Okay.
Immunobiologist. So I'm studying the immune system of pregnant ladies in relation to preterm birth and things like this. And I used to work at the Harper Hustle DMC, 4th floor of the Harper Hustle Hospital in Detroit in combination with Wayne State University. And so I did research. And if you look up Marcus A. Lear, you know what I'm saying? I'm published author of scientific literature. And I was in a journal of immunology with my abstracts and doing studies on, you know, T cells, macrophages, you know what I'm saying? Things like that.
That is crazy.
So I asked that because it's not just, with you, it's not just about having the gift.
Yeah.
But it's about literally exercising your faith behind your gift.
Yeah.
Because like Paul said, there's a lot of folk who, you know, because they make it $30 an hour, they make it $40 an hour, you know, they gonna stick with that.
Yeah.
Because, you know, they know every other week they got that coming in. But when you don't have that revenue and you still push to do what God has called you to do, the Bible says faith without works is dead.
Yeah.
Right.
And a lot of us, we talk faith, but we don't necessarily add that, you know, our faith only goes to a certain point, you know. And so just to know that about you and see the strides that you made and, you know, the doors that, you know, your faith has actually kicked open for you, man, is amazing. And I think that, you know, more people like us need to know that, you know, it's not just about your gift, but it's about exercising your faith alongside of your gift. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. It's something to where, like, you know, I treated like this gotta work for me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because I would have been a doctor 5-6 years ago. You know what I'm saying? Not a doctor of medicine, but I was gonna go into academia. You know what I'm saying? Probably get a PhD and be a professor. And who's to say if the Lord called me to, like, I'll go back to there. But he hasn't. I tried to go back and he prevented me from going back. Actually, like it was a whole situation to where like it was a couple years of like I was just wore out because I knew I had this white collar job, this good job, you know what I'm saying, good paying, benefits, whatever. And I left that and like now I'm doing hard labor, you know what I'm saying? I'm doing whatever. I worked at Taco Bell. I did landscaping. I did roofing. I'm going from job to job, and I lost all like that prestige that like I was the first person in my family to graduate from college. You know what I'm saying? I was a valedictorian. I got a full ride to University of Michigan, and then I graduated from there with high distinction. And then I was a scientist for the government by the age of 22. So I was like this type of, not golden child, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like I was doing my thing. My uncles and them was proud of me. My grandparents was proud of me. And then I'm talking about I quit all that to be a rapper. And all of a sudden, like, and now my family not saved. Like, you know what I'm saying? So like I'm not only rapping, but now I'm rapping about God. And so like I felt like I was always a bit of an outcast to certain parts, certain sides of my family. Yeah. And then now I felt like even the respect that I had gained, I lost. Yeah. But now that they see like, man, he's still out here doing this 10 years later, you know, plus, and he growing in these different ways. And like, you know, when you find what you meant to do and you doing it, like, I don't have no regrets about, like, I wouldn't have went another way. Yeah. Like, cause I am who I am to this day. And whether or not I've got tens of millions of streams or whatnot, like I know that I've had an impact, lots of impact over the past 10, 12 plus years. And every time I was finna quit, man, like the Lord will have somebody DM me. So I promise you, every single time, like every time I went to quit. And then, so I was tired of it. And then I'm doing job interviews, and I got this interview. I was doing job interviews at University of Michigan, you know what I'm saying? And they could just tell my heart wasn't in it. And they wouldn't hire me because they could tell my heart was in something else. But then I finally did one at Wayne State. It was a laboratory next door to the one I used to work at. And they said they had a salary for me. They was finna hire me in, and it was a done deal. And so I had a job. I went home that night, and I prayed to God. And I said, Lord, if you don't want me to have this job, like I said, God, I'm finna take this job. If you don't want this job, you gotta stop it, because I'm about to take this. I'm tired of burning my fingers making these flour tortillas hot at Taco Bell. Like, I'm real tired of this. And I'm finna take this job. Bro, I got a call in the very next morning, and they said that they couldn't hire me no more.
Wow. See, I ain't the only one to talk to God like that.
It was like when they, I forget who it was, but when they tested God about the dude being on the grass or not on the grass. And so it was just like, man, ever since that moment, I never really tried to go back, because to me, that was clear as day, you know, and the way that I know that God speak to me, and I had the job, and then I prayed that prayer, and then he took it away. So
here's a question about like you were talking about being in academia and, you know, being a scientist. I know you give your testimony about being an atheist. Were those things tied together?
Yeah, for sure. You know, growing up in like a non-Christian household, like I learned what they taught in school. Yeah. And they don't teach about God in schools at all. Right. It's separation of church and state. I went to school in the 90s. I was born in 91. And so when I'm going to elementary school, they teach you about Charles Darwin and evolution. And you know that a bolt of lightning hit a certain pocket on Earth and then sprung to life the first single-celled organism. And then from there, all life on Earth evolved. Every single piece of life on Earth, every plant, like, you know how much faith it takes to believe that? Like, atheists don't realize how much faith that they got. And like, I realized I ain't got enough faith to be an atheist. Like, it's crazy. Everything came from nothing.
Right. Or the Big Bang. I always say, have you ever seen an explosion? And explosions make things out of order. And they say an explosion put everything in order.
In the perfectly.
I ain't never.
Really, being a scientist revealed God more to me. Right. Because when you look at how complex a single cell is.
Yes, sir.
And there's millions of those in our body. Yeah. And then we have more bacteria in our body than we even have cells. Oh. And so, like, and all of that works together. It's crazy. Like, I couldn't never go back to not believing in a divine creator.
Yes, sir.
Like,
yes, sir.
For real.
Yes, sir.
That's what's up, man.
That is good.
But yeah, they definitely tied together, because I believed in, like I said, I was taught that. So then my whole life, like that's why I studied science. Like it resonated with me. And then it was just like, you know, it was years and lots of things that ended up leading me to Christ. But you know, I don't know if we want to get into the whole story, you know, like that.
I mean, so what was the ultimate like cross, you know, intersection that made you say, you know what, I want to, there is a God, and you know, and I want to get to know him.
So it was a few different steps, because to go from atheist to, first you got to go from atheist to like agnostic to theist to Christian. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't just one step to all of a sudden that, because so like at the University of Michigan, I took philosophy 101, and they teach you about Rene Descartes, Plato, all these different people, and they talking about real deep philosophical things about the existence of your soul. And so that was what got me to believe in God, was the fact that I believed in the existence of my soul.
Yes, sir.
And then whatever it is that gave me that soul, I said, that's God. Because I believe it's a real me inside of here. We're not just the periodic table of the elements shaken up together in a skin. And like, but like our brain isn't just, it's not a magnesium hit a phosphate and give this off. And then like, I believe I have autonomy. Yes, I don't believe that everything is like whatever I'm saying was only the results of chemical reactions in my brain. I believe it's actually an inner me that exists, that this is a shell for it. So I believed in my soul. And then from there, I started, they had this Christian InterVarsity campus group at Michigan. And, you know, they always had these little cute girls out there selling the group. You know what I'm saying? So I said, hey, I'm finna slide to these little, you know what I'm saying, Bible studies. And so I started pulling up on their Bible studies. But like, meanwhile, I was still like doing my thing. Like I was in the streets. I was doing all kinds of stuff. Like I came there one day, and the night before I had got robbed of 2 ounces of certain substance. And that was all I had. That was my entire re-up money. You know what I'm saying? Got it all took. I got robbed, right, by my cousin, but that's a whole nother story. That's a whole nother story. But I go to this Christian InterVarsity group the next day, and can you believe they talking about forgiving somebody when they rob you? I'm like, listen, y'all, I can't tell y'all all the details, but I got robbed yesterday. You know what I'm saying? And so it was like all these coincidence things like that kept happening. And then ultimately, like when I got saved, it was on that Saturday before I got saved, they let George Zimmerman off. Yeah. And I was over at my homeboy Antoine's house. We was in his garage smoking weed, man. Just was like,
you know, Antoine, the brother.
That's why I mixed, but no, you know, his brother came on over, his brother Anthony, and his brother Anthony was preaching on the Sunday for the first time, and he invited me to come, and I'm like, you know what, bump it, like it ain't nothing good in this world. I was just so devastated and felt such a lack of hope in the world at that time, and he invited me to come out, and I went to Walking in the Light Ministries on 7 Mile, right by Hoover, man, over there by Osborne. And
7 Mile?
Man, I got saved on 7 Mile. He preached this message. It was called The Renewal of the Mind. Yeah. And at that time, I was a very intellectual, not that I'm not now, but like I was like academic, intellectual, you know what I'm saying, being a scientist, going to college. And like the way he spoke to my mind, it was like a movie. It was like I was the only person in the room, and everything he said, I'm just like, wow. It was just like, you know, fire, like neurons is just firing off. And like when he did the altar call at the end, I promise you, my body got up before I'm even thinking about it. I'm walking down the aisle, and I'm like, bro, am I walking down the aisle? I'm like back here, like I'm having outer body experience. Like, what's going on? I'm walking down, I'm getting saved, and like,
wow,
man. I went to that church that one day. I never knew the entire rest of my life would change drastically.
Wow.
But it did, man. I read the whole Bible. Like after that, in 6 months, I read every book of the Bible, and I ain't read some of them since. I need to dig back into certain ones.
So why we've never gotten a song called "Saved on 7 Mile"?
Man, you know, hey, we got something close to it. I've talked about it. If you listen throughout the songs, I've talked about it. Yeah, we put me and CB just put out Christmas on 7 Mile. You know what I'm saying? So.
7 Mile to the.
Man, you know that.
Player, shout out to my man Choir Boy Bell, Antone Choir Boy Bell, man.
Yes, sir.
But that's dope. That's
Bad Boys.
Dope. Bad Boys.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's super dope. That it's amazing, you know, how we don't have to go even as far as just the word, the Bible, when we experience stuff like that ourselves. Like you said, everybody, you know, we all, I'm sure, have like conversion stories, and that's crazy that you were, you know, a scientist. You know what I'm saying? And that's, I can imagine like the family members, you know what I'm saying? Well, you know, y'all, I got this great opportunity to do something, and they all excited with you, and like, what you do? You're like, I'm gonna be right home.
But you know what? My mama, shout out to my mama. I love you, mama. She supported me the whole time.
I was gonna say that earlier today.
She was the least one. I mean, she know who I am. My mama wasn't surprised. Like, I was never, now, even though I was a scientist, I wasn't I still talk just like this. I wasn't some cookie cutter scientist, you know, like I used to be, sorry if I'm yelling, but I used to be, I used to be at the DMC, man. And like, I would rap up there. Yeah. I remember they had got groups of doctors together in a room, and they would give them, different prompts, and we had to do something creative, and like I wrote a whole rap and performed it with all these doctors in the room. They started calling me Run DMC at the hospital, bro. So like, yeah, man, it was a blessing. But God used that time to train me as a scientist, and then I used that analytical, methodical, journal note taking, and I used that and applied that mindset to growing my business, to growing my social medias, to running ads, to doing math, to, you know what I'm saying, being able to manage a whole thing. Because before long, I wasn't just a rapper. I was a manager. I was a publicist. I was a booking agent, and I was doing this. And then I started offering these services to other people. And so it was, God used all that time of training and what it takes to get a degree. That still will always be in me. And so I can read, I can write, whatever the case may be. And so stay in school, kids, you know what I'm saying? Still get that degree.
Sure.
So you think with you bringing that aspect up, you think you'll get back into the management and all that?
Well, I kind of manage from a distance right now. Yeah. It's more so like I'm a big bro with advice.
Okay.
Because managing is too close to babysitting grown people.
Man.
Like, if I gotta be on your head to do this, and this, and this, and this, and you not even like, if I care more about your ministry and your artistry than you do, like I can't do, and that's no shots at nobody, man. I care more than a lot of people do about, like, I'm very passionate. I quit being a doctor to dedicate my entire adult life to Christian rap and the things that spring off of that. So like, I'm more passionate about this than even the average Christian rapper. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
I really think, you know, even that, right? I think we romanticize things like that. And what I mean by that is some of us just like the idea of saying, you know, Marqus is my manager or you know, so-and-so, you know, and the thing is most artists, especially Christian artists, right? And I'm talking about
they ain't got nothing to manage.
Right. Most of us, there you go. Most of us don't need, you know, somebody to manage because
they want a cheerleader. They want somebody that's going to do the work they're supposed to do for them, that's going to make their schedule, that's going to be on their head. I'm not your mama.
And here's the thing, and this was always my rule of thumb, even for a manager, right? My thing was, if you're not going to do more than I'm doing, ain't no, what's the sense of, you know what I'm saying? You have somebody, but like you say, they want somebody to babysit, or they have an idea of what it is. Just because you got a manager don't mean you're going to blow up. You know, you got Pookie and Ray and them, you know, managing you, and they know nothing about the business. They had no, you know, they have no inside track.
No contacts, no venues.
So that is.
No lawyers.
You know what I mean? And so, I think sometimes we romanticize about that, about having somebody, you know.
It sounds cool both ways, because it also sounds cool when I say, oh, I'm managing such and such. That make me sound, it go both ways. It definitely go both ways.
You know, right. You want to be like, yeah, call my, you know, we use that as the push off. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, can I get this feature?
Man, call my people. I'm going to have my people call your people. Like, I ain't got no people.
Right.
Bro, but see, sometimes it's good to have that, because it especially in
buffer,
especially in the church. You know what I'm saying? Because they feel, a lot of them feel like you got to do stuff for free.
They don't want to give you bread.
So Anthony and Tamika came in handy because Ant used to be like, man, they want you to come to Philly. Yeah. And I'm like, what they talking? They like, they just talking about paying you to perform. I'm like, I'm not. I got to pay gas money and hotel. I was like, bro, no. And then he get on the phone, was like, no, y'all got to come better, you know. But it's like, some people I've told no, and then I see them afterwards. Oh, you just think you too good, and then they want to spread that about you. And I'm like, no, I mean, that I'm too good, but I'm the one that's paying for these sessions. Yeah. I'm the one that's paying for the music. Y'all ain't doing that.
And too, if you got a demand, right? If there's a demand, then that's like if somebody calls and talking about they want you to come to another state. Evidently, there's a demand.
It's once you have so much going on that you can't manage it all.
Right.
That's when you get them. That's when you outsource the management to somebody else. Or either that or if you got to have some kind of management capacity if you're gonna be an artist. If you can't manage this little bit, how God gonna increase you? And so I know. We gon' I do want to talk about music and mocktails before we get out of here, y'all.
We got about 5 minutes. Let's do it.
Bet, man. So March 6th, man, we throwing a party, man. It's my birthday party, and I got the Chapel Cypher Collective coming out to host it in person. Listen, y'all, we got Choir Boy Bell, DBG, Kalik Still Sick, DJ Kid Easy, Uncle Gmo, Joe Brown, King Sizzle, Sounds by DJ Low Keys, man. We got open mic. And we got dining with Deshaun in the building, you know what I'm saying?
Chef Boyardee.
We're going to have some jerk bowls for y'all.
Hey, it's going to be an awesome time, man. I never threw a concert for my birthday, so I hope y'all come out. Don't embarrass me on my birthday. I was like, it's going to be at Casablanca Drive, man. We off Gratiot and Mount Elliott, man. We on the east side. We in the hood with it, man. It's a dry bar. They got mocktails though. And man, I had this apple cider with the lime and the ginger in there. Man, then she had this wine that was de-alkalized. So you can come take communion if you want to. You know what I'm saying? We got the non-alcoholic beers going, like, so we outside with it, and it's a whole different venue. I had a pastor talk to me like, hey, why don't you throw your event here? And I'm like, with all due respect, I love what you got going on here. This is a wonderful venue, but what I'm doing with this is it's outside the church. We at a bar, and so it's a dry bar, but like this ain't something to where you gonna dress down to and come in your hoodie and sweats and bring the kids to and sit down in the dark. Like, no, you gonna pop out. Yeah. We in Detroit, man. Throw on your fur, whatever you finna come out in. Leave the kids at home if you
only one got in front.
Say no choir boy.
Oh, he got that full length board on.
So it's a night to step out. You know what I'm saying? And also we're giving away gifts. So I got a Lecrae vinyl, I got a Anike vinyl, we got 3-pack of Indie Tribe CDs, Bibles, merch from No Losses, merch from DKG Kai, man, all kinds of stuff. Holy Trenches merches. Shout out to Dre B's, to Godson. And then I'm giving away tickets to future concerts, man. Tickets to the Kingdom Nights on March 21st, and we're giving away 2 tickets to the Kai and Emmanuel concert on March 7th, which is actually my birthday, and I'm opening up for them at that concert too.
Shout out to
so the whole weekend gonna be lit, man. So shout out to the whole Detroit, man. Make sure y'all come through. We're gonna have a lot of Detroit merch in the building, beanies on deck, you feel me, embroidery on deck, man. Holla at you, man. It's a Chapel Cypher Collective. I've loved being here, man. It's been a blessing, man. Shout out to the Hope Detroit, man. My boy Rail Paul, man. Yeah. Hey, man, such a blessing, man. Thank you for saying that. I'd be remiss if I didn't say that, man. They've been a major blessing. I'm so grateful to be able to partner with them, man. Just doing a lot to help the community. We wouldn't be doing these. This ain't giveaways from my pocket, you know what I'm saying? So praise God that we're able to celebrate my birthday by giving away some gifts, man, and just doing some dope ministry, man. Invite some friends, man. Come be outside with us. If you ain't got $10, man, DM me, man. You can come anyway. It ain't even about the money. You know what I'm saying? It's really just the money go towards throwing the next event, making it bigger and better. You know what I'm saying? And getting other venues and just growing it and everything. But God is good, man. It's been a blessing being on this interview podcast.
Yeah, we appreciate you.
Did y'all hear what he said? Yeah. It's his birthday and he giving away gifts.
Yes, sir.
You feel me?
That's what's up.
That's what we're doing. If you want to bring some cake, though, I'm there.
Yeah, definitely.
So, God, we thank you for this fellowship. We thank you that we had this opportunity to come before the people and share some of the business of what it is that we do, but also talk about your word and give testimonies to how great you are, and that you can come to anybody and anywhere and save them as long as we're willing to be vessels. So we thank you for this opportunity. We thank you for the producer. We thank you for our guests. We ask that you would continue to multiply the works of his hands, God. These things we pray in the name of your son, Jesus the Christ.
Amen.
I'm your man's Vic.
It's your man, Goodson.
Your boy Marqus Anthony.
Make sure y'all go to YouTube, like and subscribe.
Yes,
Chapel Cypher Collective. Yeah.
Vic, reminiscent, Chapel Cypher